another statement just 2 days later at 9 a.m. She was told the reason was to collect more details, but you'll notice that the line of questioning and the answers they attain have little to no use for anything outside of Jennifer's culpability. The actual reason for this second statement is to collect further information to use against her at a later stage. In this interview alone, they already start the process of cross-examination and start to catch her out in previous lies. Jennifer is still a witness at this moment, and the exchange is void of any direct confrontation, yet she is still put under a modest amount of pressure, and the holes in her story start to become ever more apparent.
Take that first interview that we had, which was, hours after what had transpired, put it aside. It's almost like we've never spoken before. Okay?
Uh-oh.
So we're starting afresh. We're starting from new.
Oh, shit.
That way you're not going to say, I think I already told him that.
Time
Don't worry
to
about
throw
what you've already told him.
PogChamp, dude.
Do you, Jennifer Penn, swear or declare that the evidence that you give in this investigation shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
We're going to see if we've learned or if you've remembered anything else. And there's some questions with respect to that statement that I'm going to ask you about. Okay, but I'm going to let you start again, and let's move forward from any time in that day where you want to start. If it's the time you woke up or if it's the time that your first interaction, it's your choice.
Okay, I'm very nervous, and
Why are you nervous? Tell me about why you're nervous.
Because I don't want to say the wrong things.
Because
that day was a lot.
You're right.
And I've been scattered, and so bits and pieces are here and some pieces aren't here, and I'm just...
So I want you to sit back in your chair. Okay, just sit back in your chair, take a deep breath. Okay, close your eyes, just follow my line, just sit back in the chair for a second, sit back, relax the best you can, close your eyes, and just breathe for a minute. Okay?
The most curious detail you've probably come to notice is this. It's known as a self-pacifying gesture. A person who does this is most often uncomfortable and sometimes fearful of what lies ahead. It's a coping mechanism to dissipate stress and afford self-assurance.
What I can remember is when I woke up, I had some breakfast.
She practices on the piano, studies piano history, plays games on her phone, and speaks with her friends on Facebook during the morning hours. Her mom leaves to visit her grandfather at around noon and returns at 3 p.m. to prepare dinner. Her father comes home at around 4:30 from work, and dinner is served 1 hour later. Her mother leaves for line dancing at 7, then returns at 9:30. Jennifer at this point is in bed talking with her friend on the phone, and her father is in the computer room. She then hears her mother loudly call out to her father.
What is she saying?
She's calling him by his name and to come down.
Okay, so give us verbatim. What do you hear her saying?
In Vietnamese, she's like, Hanoi.
I do this with my hands all the time.
She's clearly aware that she has to appear mournful over the subject matter, and sensibly draws out this...
Sure fucking seems like neurodivergent witnesses are absolutely fucked if they're questioned. Probably. Yeah. I mean, welcome to the world where everyone is fucking ableist as shit. I mean, dude, think about it this way. I mean, neurodivergent people get fucking framed for murder. Like, when they haven't done the thing. Like, that literally happens.
Emotion at the correct moments.
Yeah,
Yet
watch
what's
How to Make a
fascinating
Murderer.
is how she's unable to maintain this emotion when inquired over the same elements. In this very moment, she appears completely grief-stricken, but when the investigator inquires further, this supposed grief rapidly dissipates. It's extremely difficult to convincingly act out an emotion while evaluating a question. It requires two completely different parts of the brain, which is why most people can only do one of these things at a time. This is exactly what you see in the next moment,
Making a
and
murderer,
continuously
how to make a murderer,
throughout this
whatever.
interview.
And what does that translate to?
That's my father's name, Han. Come down here.
Does she say anything else associated with that
I can't hear clearly because, like, I was on the phone and the TV was on,
Sure.
but that's what I heard.
Is she yelling? Or is it...
Neurodivergent means you have, like, a neurological disorder. Like, you have a disability. Okay? You're neuroatypical. Disabled, motherfucker. Disabled. I don't know how else to use it. Like, it's like the most... it's the most, like, appropriate way of saying, like, you're different than what would be otherwise, like, considered normal. Like ADHD, OCD, Asperger's, that sort of thing. Neuroatypical doesn't equal disabled. What the fuck? Doesn't neurodivergence mean like you're neuroatypical and also you have some kind of disability, a neurological disability? Being neurodivergent isn't a disability. How fucking neurotypical of you. You can be neurodivergent if you're from a different culture. Wait, what? Bro, we are describing a concept to people who do not have any sort of contextual understanding. You are yelling at me for using a different term to describe something to someone who just simply does not understand it. Okay? A person who asks, what is neurodivergent? I'm trying to fucking describe it to them in the way that they will understand if they've never heard what this is. Neurodivergent refers to an individual who has less typical cognitive variations such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia. Neurotypical refers to individuals with typical development. Neuroatypical is what I said. And intelligent cognitive functioning. ASD chatter here using disabled is actually preferred to words like special. You are neurodivergent having ADHD, and I'm also neurodivergent having autism. It's a spectrum of abilities and development. They're full of shit. Neurodivergent literally means disabled / mentally ill. Mentally disabled equals neurodivergent, but not neurodivergent equals mentally disabled. What? Dude, you're making it more confusing. You're literally making it more confusing. For people who don't understand neurodivergent, it just means that you have some kind of like mental disability, okay? But it's a varying degree. It's like a fucking big window, okay? I'm fucking neurodivergent. Okay? Because I have ADHD. That's just like... Alright? That's how it is. God damn, bro. Shut up, everybody, about, like, idiotic fucking semantic shit, okay? Oh my god. Now motherfuckers are gonna be like, Hassan, you're literally being ableist because I can't help myself from fucking parsing through every fucking semantic difference here, and you are being ableist by not letting me fucking make a larger argument about a semantic difference that is otherwise not important. Shut the fuck up. Yes, I'm ableist. Yes, I am also neurodivergent. Yes, we exist. Shut the fuck up.
It's a loud, she's not yelling, but it's a loud tone.
Okay.
She then hangs up the phone with her friend once she hears the commotion.
As I'm hanging up the phone with him, I hear footsteps going up the stairs.
Okay.
But they're heavier footsteps than what is to be expected from my parents.
Okay.
Jennifer hears unfamiliar voices, so she opens her door to investigate. She has spoken for 2 minutes up to this point without being interrupted, and once again manages to build up her emotion to correlate with a supposedly terrifying event. Yet as soon as the detective interjects with a question, we once again see this emotion dissipate.
I peered out, and there was a person in what would have been my brother's room.
And where's your brother's room located?
Just a little bit down the, like I could see from my doorway to his doorway, just
Okay.
a little bit down the hall.
Okay.
The first intruder then robs Jennifer at gunpoint before taking her to the ground floor, where she then sees her parents sitting next to each other.
From where I was standing, my father was sitting on the right, and my mother was sitting on the left.
Sitting where?
On a couch, on our couch.
Sitting on the couch. Are they looking out towards you?
No, their backs are towards me.
Okay. And you're now on the ground level? Are you on the floor? Or on the
I'm
sitting on the
on the
stairs?
floor. I'm sitting on the floor.
All right, where are your hands?
They had tied my hands,
So let's
as
go.
I said.
Let's go back up to the stairs. Remember we said
Yo, notice how the dude is no longer questioning with like kitty gloves. I feel like he's sussing her out a little bit. He's like, you're being a sussy little baka right now, and just saying.
Her emotional display in seeing her parents in distress gradually faded after each interjection, but you'll now see it completely cease altogether once she realizes that she made her first mistake. Everything she had said up to this point correlated with her initial statement, but she had just forgot to mention that she was first tied up before being taken downstairs, and only brought it up when reminded by the detective.
take the other statement and whatever we've said before.
No, I said it earlier.
She didn't say she was tied up earlier. She completely forgot to mention it and seems to be trying to convince the detective otherwise. It's a moment of slight panic, which becomes far more pronounced when you compare it to her supposed grief-stricken recollection 5 seconds earlier. The detective doesn't challenge this, as it can be used against her at a much later stage, and the main objective at this point is to collect as much conflicting information as possible.
Okay, then we must let's get back to that area. I think you might have touched on it. We went back into the description. So where do you get your hands tied, and where does the string come from?
I'm not sure where the string comes from, but he had the string.
Okay.
And after I gave him my money, that's when he tied my hands.
She is then taken downstairs where she sees her mother being interrogated by the second assailant over the whereabouts of the cash. According to her first statement, the second assailant never said a word the entire time.
He had pushed her back onto the couch, and she
Who
kept...
pushed her?
Number 2.
Okay.
He was pushing her back onto the couch. And she kept saying, "Where's my purse? Where's my purse?" And the guy kept telling her to sit down, and I didn't want my mom to get hurt.
I don't know if this is fucked up or not. I don't know if this is fucked up
How
or
many
not, but I
times did
literally
she
feel
get up
like
and
being a
get-
detective is kind of like playing Among Us, but with like real stakes. Like the more I watch it, the more I'm like, this is like you have to have a comprehensive understanding of like all of the events that took place. You have to analyze the scenery. You have to literally fucking catch people in contradicting stories, shit like that. I mean, Among Us is a lot like being a detective. Sorry.
Push back down.
I'd say she got up twice.
Has number 2 uttered a word at this point in time?
I can't remember hearing him.
Okay. So we're just correcting what you said earlier, because you said earlier that it was number 2 who was asking where the purse is, what the purse is, and now you've said now it's number 1 guy who would
I'm
initially...
sorry, it's just...
No. It's all a purpose. The purpose here is clarifying what you're saying. So number 1
I
is...
just don't want to...
Number 1 is the one who's doing the talking about the purse. Number 3 is focused on your dad's wallet. Okay.
Jennifer continues to make contradictions and is forced to correct herself multiple times after she notices the puzzled gaze from the detective. He inquires over the appearance of assailant number 2, who is wearing a hoodie according to the first statement.
Do you get a good look at number 2 now of what he's wearing?
All I could tell was he had a vest, and his face was like a long oval face.
He had a vest?
No, hoodie.
Okay.
Dark hoodie.
Okay. Did you see them recover anything inside your mom and dad's room?
I did not see anything, no.
Are you sure? Because when we spoke the last time, there was some mention of some other money that went missing.
I believe when they were looking for my father's wallet, they had opened the drawer. And it was in an envelope.
What drawer would that have been in?
If you're at the doorway where I was standing, on the left side, the bedside table.
Whose side of the bed is it?
That's my mother's side of the bed.
Okay.
More than likely a total coincidence, yet she almost appears to be praying that she gave the correct response. Fortunately for her, she was correct on this occasion.
And approximately how much money?
I'm not sure how much she took out for our trip, but I can only estimate about a few $100s.
Few hundred, because at the time, the last time you told me, you were pretty adamant about
$1,100.
$1,100. So I'm curious to know how you came up with that number.
You are being such a sussy little baka.
I believe because when we were at the border, we stopped at the duty free. My mother was deciding whether to use her U.S. currency or her U.S. currency or her Canadian currency.
So it was at that time you remember hearing $1,100, and is that the inference you're saying? Is that because you're pretty solid saying that it was $1,100 that went missing, that was taken, and that you saw it when we spoke, and who took it? Who took possession of the money?
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
The detective lets the contradiction slide once more. Jennifer is then brought to the moment where the intruders had just left, and she is
Dude, no matter how fucking skilled you are, no matter how much you think this shit through, clearly it still falls apart, dude. Okay? You're just never, you're never well prepared enough to obviously get away with, you know, hiring a hitman to murder your parents. That's what we're learning today. That's what I'm learning, at least, from this story. That's the moral of this story.
tied to the upstairs banister.
Let's come back to now. You're being taken to the banister in the upper. Don't apologize, okay? I'm going to try and ask you questions to try and clarify points.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, if you don't remember, you don't remember. Okay, so there's no apologizing. The only reason you would apologize to me is if you lied to me.
No.
Okay,
No,
so
I just...
then in this case, then don't apologize to me. It's okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you questions to clarify points.
Okay.
You're now bound to this, to the railing. Can you show me, can you stand up and turn around and tell me, just show on the camera, how your hands are bound? And how you are against the railing. You don't have to sit down, I just need to see how you were.
Just tell you.
The only reason that I'm trying to, I need to do this, is that I'm also going to ask you, is that so take this back take it out of a traumatizing event, which it is, and put yourself into a more clinical position, because I want to see how you could physically get your phone out of your waistband. We're obviously going to need to know that. It's very important. So traumatize away, now put yourself into
I once convinced my parents that there were no parent-teacher meetings for like half a year before they caught on. That's my claim to fame. Wow, dude. You're just like Jennifer, who murdered her parents. Pretty sick, dude. Good job.
the state of, I need to mechanically show how I can get access to my phone. Okay, because that's obviously very relevant. We know you made the phone call, but questions are going to obviously raise is that if my hands are bound and I'm against the railing, how do I talk to a 911 operator?
True. I mean, that's the
so
dumbest too. It's like the easiest way to get caught. What a fucking...
Just stand up, focus in on how you did it. And I want you to stick that in your waistband as an example. Okay, so just take your sweater off, because this will be a very smooth, very quick thing. It's a one-time demonstration. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it.
The two critical parts of this demonstration are where Jennifer states she was tied, and the movement of her arms as she takes her phone out of her pocket. The investigator is hoping the mechanics of the two components would be illogical and contradict each other.
They tied my upper arm.
Yes.
Around the banister.
Yes.
But my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the.
She had a couple days to literally practice this physically, by the way. And if she hasn't, that's like terrible. Oh, thanks, Mom.
Banister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call?
Whether it be a stroke of luck or that Jennifer had prepared for this moment, this actually made sense. Had her arms gone left or the point of restraint been below the elbow, none of this would have been possible. It's perhaps the single moment where Jennifer's statement was somewhat beneficial to her defense. We know Jennifer was tied up when police arrived, but the assumption was that she had her phone in her hands the entire time and wouldn't have had to retrieve it from her waistband. She can now argue that this portion of her testimony is genuine.
911. And do you talk down like that?
Yes, I'm yelling at the phone like this.
And how can you hear?
I turned the volume on max.
Yes? So that's exactly the way that you're talking to her against the railing. Okay, that's good enough. Sit down.
Jennifer is then brought back to the moment just before she heard the gunshots.
At this point, I started hearing my parents get up. And they're moving. And my mom's yelling, "Where's my daughter? I want my daughter. Where's my daughter?" And I'm yelling, "Mom, I'm here."
Here. Jennifer, take a Kleenex and just take a minute.
You'll notice that she doesn't wipe her eyes or blow her nose, just buries her face in the tissue, which the detective later testified remained completely dry.
What the fuck? They look at that? These guys are demons, bro. You can't out shark these motherfuckers. Who checks the Kleenex, dude? Are there nose dookies in there? What was he going in to see? Like how they would taste or something? I don't understand. We checked the Kleenex.
So we're now down in the basement. They're down in the, your parents are down in the basement.
I heard pop. And then my mom. I heard her squeal.
Multiple pops occur thereafter before she hears the intruders leave through the front door.
Once the door closed, I heard my father. He ran up the stairs and all I could hear was moaning. Yeah. Once I heard him starting to move, that's when I pulled out the phone and I was trying to call 911.
This is untrue. She only realized her father was alive midway through the 911 call. And in that exact moment, you can actually hear genuine fear in her voice compared to her fabricated panic the moment before.
Some people broke into our house and paid us all his money. Ma'am, where are you? What? Avenue Road. Yes. Can you spell the street name for me, please? Dad?
The final part of this statement is collecting information to set up the main strategy for Jennifer's interrogation that will take place 10 days later. They go through Jennifer's past and gather intel to lay the foundation for what's known as the how and why solution, which will be explained in further detail at a later stage.
What I want to do now is I want to go into your past, okay? And start talking about.
Dude, I'm sorry. They're doing that thing again where it's like, well, this is called the how and why solution. Oh, you mean like fucking building motive, dude? That's crazy. I didn't realize there was a specific name for motive. No, it's called the how and why solution.
Things that have been going on with you.
The detective now morphs into a therapist, and what's fascinating is how Jennifer doesn't once question the new line of inquisition. Many argue that it was the first time Jennifer was even asked about such matters, giving reason for her willingness to open up. This may have been the first time in her life she was able to process her frustrations and vent to someone who appeared to care. The first topic is her parents, and the expectations and pressures she was under to succeed, which led to her faking her grades and then her college degree as to not be a disappointment.
How did you feel about that? How did you feel about having to lie to your parents?
Oh my God, that's the biggest self-report, dude.
Bring it up. There was just so much expectation.
Did you have any resentment towards them for this?
I chose what I chose, but in the end, I chose my family.
Guys, this is a little known technique called the asking questions solution, where the detective will ask questions to get answers out of her.
She just referred to the ultimatum she was given by her father, the choice to live at home and go back to school, or be completely cut off by her parents and live with her boyfriend. Information gathering on Jennifer's past goes on for roughly 2 hours and 20 minutes. The detective then ends the exchange by putting her under some pressure. It's not a direct confrontation, but it's by far the most uncomfortable position she's been in up to this point. The detective subtly switches back to the home invasion and how the intruders were able to gain access without breaking in.
Like you didn't hear a doorbell, you didn't hear a door knock, you didn't hear a door kicked in, you didn't.
Like I said, I was watching
No,
TV on the phone.
but-
I don't know how.
Yeah, I know. We went over that back and forth. We don't know how.
Uh-oh.
So somehow they got into your house by getting through your mom down on the lower level, right? Because she's the only one who's down
She
there.
was the only one down there.
So
Bro, have you never watched a fucking crime movie? Like, that's literally the first thing that detectives look at is like, no sign of forced entry. It seems the suspects knew the victim. Like, you know what I mean? That's like straight up some CSI 101 shit, dude.
it's very confusing. Generally, random events are not, in most cases, random. There's a rhyme or reason why they've come to your house.
Yep.
But from what you've told me inside the house, the only thing that you hear them saying to you is they're looking for money.
Yep. And
They're
you
not
don't do
looking
a
for a
fucking
specific
armed robbery
quantity.
like that for no reason.
So you're telling me that you had no involvement in what happened, meaning not saying how the outcome came, but you had no involvement in any type of illegal activity that would have drawn you or the attention of you to have bad people come to your house looking for large sums of money. You're not involved in this any which way. Because the question obviously stands, Jennifer, is you're upstairs and they're downstairs.
No.
Right? So it's a natural concern when, why would they leave you alone? Why would they not do the same to you?
Yeah, why wouldn't they murder her? Why would they know there's fucking money in the house? Like, who has cash in their fucking house, dude? The real question is, why don't you have a lawyer, dog? Lawyer up. I don't know why. I am not siding with the murderer here, okay? I'm just simply stating that, like, I'm not defending her. Look at my lawyer, dog. He's invisible. I'm going to jail.
You can't answer that question?
The only thing I can say is he said I cooperated.
The,
But I asked him to take me.
the number
with my
one
mom.
guy? The number one guy said you cooperated. Okay. Who's to say this whole thing isn't a lie? That what you're telling me is a lie? Because if you are lying, it's the most cold-blooded thing that I've ever faced in my life.
God damn, he said it. Like, you ever read this manga called Death Note?
There is nothing that you've said to me today is a lie. Now, back to another very difficult question. But if I don't ask it, I'm going to be. It's an obvious one. The resentment that you may have had towards your parents for the interference in your relationship and your life, and essentially locking you down in your house.
At the end of the day, I love my parents and I chose to be with them. And if I wanted to, I could have just left, but I didn't. I wanted to stay with them and take care of them.
What? Why?
So this wasn't some evil plot that you thought up to.
Bro, that's not even something you would say. You'd be like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, it doesn't matter that I resent my family for fucking being restrictive. Like, everyone's parents are fucking restrictive in some way. I still love them. That's what you would say if you're a fucking innocent person. Not like, I chose to stay with them. That is way too much of a fucking hyper rational and hyper logical fucking response to someone being like, did you murder your parents? That's a ginormous red flag, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, I chose to stay with them is a fucking, is like a very weird thing to do. Are the parents also at fault in this case? No, dude, no. bad parenting, unless like bad parenting literally means like child abuse and like physically trying to murder your child, and then in self-defense your child murders you. Outside of that, like, no, the parents aren't fucking at fault for being murdered by their daughter. A murder. You're crazy, Chatter, you fucking sick freak.
Oh my God, no.
Okay,
No interaction.
everybody
no
needs
belief,
to calm the fuck down. Everyone who keeps saying she's hot, like, dude, just keep it to yourself, okay?
You didn't have anything to do with this thing at all, whatsoever. You don't engage in illegal activity.
Murder.
Because you know that it'll be very easy. It will be a very easy thing to discredit you on, right? We're in the process of trying to add credibility to what you tell us, and that's through the process of asking people and doing whatever. Through that same process, it will be very easy to find the flaws in what you've said, which again then turns the focus back to you. Okay?
I don't.
It's a natural progress. It's a natural thing that investigators do. We eliminate people, or we draw our attention to them. It's a natural thing. It's not brain surgery. Okay?
The detective leaves the room for 20 minutes to allow Jennifer to stew in her own thoughts before they end the statement. He comes back to add one last bit of psychological pressure that he carefully disguises as reassurance. Jennifer will leave terrified, but still believe the police are on her side.
Okay, we're done, essentially. How are you feeling?
Sorry, you really scared me.
Did I? What did I scare you about? Sit down and take a load off. Tell me how you're feeling. And how I scared you. I don't want you walking away from here thinking I'm evil. I want you to walking around from here thinking that this guy is helping investigate my mom's murder, and he's going to turn over every stone possible to make sure that we catch the people who do that. That's what I want you feeling. So I don't want you walking away from here thinking that I scared you, or I'm a bad man. Sometimes we have to ask very, very difficult questions, but it's my job. Okay? You're our only link. You're it. Until your dad regains his back and being able to be spoken to. Right now, you're our only link to this case.
Bro, Dad survived it? Oh my God. Oh, she done fucked up, dude. That's crazy. Plot twist. I survived, bitch.
Her father had bullet fragments lodged in his face that doctors couldn't remove, and a shattered neck bone. At the time of this interview, the consensus was that if he did regain consciousness, he would be useless as a witness due to irreversible brain damage.
So we may rely on you heavily until we can speak to your father.
God damn it,
Okay?
dude.
So don't be afraid. If you've told the truth, the last thing you should be afraid of is anything. If you've told the truth and you've been truthful through this whole process, then you're helping.
God.
You're doing your part. Okay? And don't be afraid of me.
I'm just afraid because, you know, like, I know everything is just all pointing negatively right now, and I don't understand why. I feel that, like, the way you're speaking to me, it's kind of like, I know you said that you had to say those things, but it's here, and I've already said it to the special victims yesterday, but there's, like, ideas in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to say it out loud. But
Ideas about speculation of what happened? How it happened? Unfortunately, at times some of us have to point the finger, or seem like we're pointing the finger, and it really is just to provoke you to see what you're going to do, how you're going to respond. Okay? So it's only a question, and it's been answered. And if you've been truthful, okay, you have nothing to fear. Absolutely nothing. Okay?
Police kept Jennifer under close observation from this point forward. A surveillance detail was assigned to track her every movement, and she was even monitored at her mother's funeral 3 days later. According to reports, she was emotionless the majority of the time, only showing what appeared to be feigned grief at certain moments. She never shed a single tear, and kept her eyes to the floor or completely shut for the entirety of the service. Jennifer's father had in fact awoken from his induced coma the day prior, and miraculously seemed to to remember everything from the night of the incident.
What?
He would give an official statement in secret on November 16th, and multiple parts of his story contradicted what Jennifer had told police. The most significant detail was that she was never tied up, but instead walking around freely and talking with the intruders as if they were friends. He actually spoke with Jennifer over the phone, but was informed by investigators to act amnesic and not to confront her, only to ask her if she thought her ex-boyfriend was behind it. She stated that she was almost certain he wasn't. The only issue with Hahn's statement was that he had suffered minor brain damage from the gunshot, which could be used by a defense team to refute his testimony in court, or even get it thrown out altogether. Furthermore, it was essentially his word against
Hero. Also, you could throw that out on a technicality, but like, what dad would literally make that up about their daughter after they've been fucking shot in the goddamn head? It's like, I lived, and also now I want to frame my daughter before I fucking die. Like, motherfucker literally said, I saw her vent, dude. I saw her faking tasks. I saw her vent.
Jennifer's, and their turbulent relationship would also work greatly in the defense's favor. York Regional Police knew they needed a confession for the best possible chance at securing a conviction, so they assigned
chatters who are saying like, oh my god, you idiot, they're saying he has brain damage. What kind of brain damage causes you to literally fucking create a fake narrative, dumbass chatter? Which we have the benefit of hindsight of knowing that it wasn't even a fake narrative, but like, let's say you don't know. Let's say you don't know, like, no, when you have brain damage, you are clouded. Your judgment is clouded, or maybe like you got brain damage with a bullet lodged in your brain, so you can't really, you don't have like perfect recall. What brain damage goes, oh my god, like my daughter was walking around freely? Like at most, the dad would probably just be like, I don't remember any of the events. Frontal lobe damage can change personality. Okay, but changing a personality doesn't mean that you're gonna fucking concoct an entirely different
their most experienced investigator to conduct Jennifer's interrogation. She was called back into the Markham police station on the 22nd of November at 2:30 p.m., a week and a half after the incident took place.
So just for the record, it is the 22nd of November 2010. We're at the 5 District Station in the town of Markham. My computer right now says 2:39 in the afternoon. Okay. Just for the record, my name is Detective William Gates. You can just call me Bill here today. And what do you like to be called?
Jen. Jennifer.
Jen? Yep. What do you prefer, Jen or Jennifer?
Doesn't matter.
Either or? Okay. So Jen, you're aware that the audio tape and everything's on. It's the same as last time. Okay. You've been here on 2 other occasions, I understand. On the 9th of November, and I believe again on the 11th of November. Is that correct? Okay. And do you know why we're here today?
Just to discuss stuff.
Yeah, regarding what?
The,
Dude, I can't believe they literally brought down Bill Gates, the founding father of Microsoft, to do this investigation. It's actually crazy. Just saying.
so what happened at my home?
Okay. And as a result of that home invasion, your father, Pan, was actually shot, and your mother, Pan, was actually killed. Is that correct? Yeah, you'll have to speak up a little bit just so I can hear you.
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
What's unique about this interrogator is how he immediately adopts a no-nonsense approach, yet manages to build rapport and remain sympathetic at the same time. You'll see that he has far less patience compared to the previous investigator, yet seems to create a stronger connection with the suspect. It's a hard thing to explain, but easily observed as you'll soon find out.
So that's what we're going to discuss here today.
Jennifer this time around has read her rights to silence rather than her rights as a witness. If she knew anything about the law in Canada, she would be wise to the fact that she is now a suspect. Fortunately for the investigator, she remains completely naive to the situation throughout the opening phase of the interrogation, making her far more susceptible to the strategy he is about to employ.
Okay, just hold on a second. Okay, we're having technical difficulties here. Okay, so that's why they interrupted me. What we're going to do is...
This is called a technical difficulty technique, where you act like you have a technical difficulty.
If you don't mind holding tight there, I'm just going to move my equipment to the other room. Okay, and then I'll come over and we'll move over there, next door, okay?
I'm just not comfortable being on my own.
Okay, I'm going to be right here, though. Okay?
With respect to interrogations, it's common knowledge that the psychological manipulation begins before a single word is spoken. The physical layout of the room is designed to accelerate the sense of discomfort and isolation, and it's fascinating to observe how each interrogator has their own unique methods of setting the tone. Knowing how this interrogation plays out allows us to realize this detective's procedure. The considerable distance between him and the suspect will keep her relaxed enough to be influenced by Phase 1. But this same distance will intensify the pressure once he eventually closes it during Phase 2. You'll notice this detective is slow with his first strategy, but swift with the second. He takes his time in building trust and establishing rapport, yet once this initial connection is secured, the transition to aggression will be abrupt and ever-increasing from that point forward. Jennifer takes a seat in the room 15 minutes since she was first informed of her rights. It's important to note that she is still free to leave at any time at this point. She is unknowingly a suspect, but not under arrest.
So just for the record, this room is being videotaped and audio taped, just like the other one, okay? And I'm just going to grab my chair from across the way, okay? Okay.
The detective goes through Jennifer's history of teaching piano and her earlier years of high-level figure skating, which was cut short due to injury.
If you didn't get injured, would you still be doing it?
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. So that's nice. And did you, as far as that, did you do like competition skating or?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you do with that?
I wasn't at the top of the pack, but just the middle average.
Yeah, so that's good though. But you did actually enjoy it. It was more than just going for competition. You enjoyed actually doing it.
I was petrified of the competition.
Okay. All right. Do you have any students right now? Or?
No.
Okay. And why not?
The students I were teaching, they went to high school and lost interest.
Okay. Yeah. Too big for piano. Yeah, I took it in grade school too, but I think I went to grade 7 in it. I think when I was in grade 7, I stopped taking it, but I still remember Swans on the Lake. I know how to play that, that's about it.
The detective then goes through Jennifer's work history as a server before touching on her future plans in education. Jennifer mentions that she plans to go by her parents' wishes and pursue a career in healthcare, at which point the primary strategy is initiated: the how and why solution. The detective gradually begins to shift the blame away from the suspect and onto another set of circumstances that prompted the suspect to commit the crime. He starts developing a theme that will afford her a psychological justification in doing it, and this theme will be further established as the interrogation progresses. It starts off subtle so that she...
They didn't say this with like the Chris dude, but they kind of did that with him too. But he didn't mention it as the how and why technique when he was talking about the Chris guy. Did he? Did he? Because that's how they got him as well, where they were like establishing a motive for like a separate, like an alternative solution. You know what I mean? But I don't think they called it the how and why solution.
Remains oblivious to the agenda.
Now, if you could pick any job yourself, I'm not talking about anybody else, but if you could pick for yourself, what would it be?
I'm going to be a piano teacher on when I come home. But in the daytime, I'd like to have a simple, maybe like a lab technician job, just work 8 hours a day, and I come home.
God damn it! God damn it! Stop! 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 I've been trying to find a good moment to do a segue. I had such a good one planned, dude. Stop! I've been waiting. I've been stalling since the beginning of 4 p.m. You guys have... You just... Come on! Fucking assholes, dude. How is this any way to consume content? You're just looking at your fucking clock the entire time, waiting for the top of the hour so you can call me out ahead of time. God damn it. A 60-second ad break is coming. You've been spamming for 5 minutes. I literally thought you would stop. I literally thought you would stop at some point, but no. Ad break, ad break, ad break, ad break, ad break. It's coming. Ad break incoming. You even had your tomatoes lined up. Top of the fucking hour, dude. It's time for a 60-second ad break. If you no longer want to see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Fuck. You broke my fucking frame, dude. Subscribe with a Twitch Prime for free, bitch. Here's the fucking ad break now. God damn it, dude. Literally did not stop. Like, you guys were just straight up just fucking spamming it, dude. I'm just gonna start fucking hitting you with ads randomly. I hope you're happy.
This is an answer the detective was hoping for. Jennifer's preferred career choice is at odds with what her parents...
Because I had such a good one planned for this, dude. I'm not even gonna tell you. I had such a good one. Like, I was like, literally, I was like, this is gonna be so good. It's gonna be so fucking good. I'm not gonna tell you.
...wanted. So he now builds on the concept of the overly controlling parent and the unfair limitations it causes the child. He then links this concept with the subject of Jennifer's boyfriend and how she was kept from seeing him.
Now, eventually you were discussing Daniel. What happened with that relationship?
He's doing the exact same thing that the other guys did with Chris when they said your wife is the one who murdered the children, right? Like, and you had to do what you had to do. So that's now the motive there is just like, no, it wasn't the ad technique. That one's like kind of good too. I thought about that, but that's cheeky. I have a better one. I'm not going to tell you. Anyway.
For my parents at first, they didn't agree with me having a boyfriend.
Okay.
And once they found out, they didn't like the fact that he was of mixed race.
Okay.
And they told me to stop seeing him.
Okay. And how did that make you feel?
That he was the person who just filled an empty void for me. So it felt that a part of me was missing.
When you broke up, you felt the part was missing? Is that what you're saying?
When they first told me to stop seeing him, stop talking to him, I felt like a part of me was missing, and I fell into a little bit of depression.
Okay. How did they find out?
One day when my mother came to pick me up, she saw me with him. He had dropped me off.
Okay. Dropped you off.
At Pacific Mall, and my mother was
Done. Got him. GG, pack it up.
And somehow they saw each other, I guess?
Oh, my mother saw me hugging, kissing goodbye.
Okay, that gave it away. What happened next then?
How'd they find Oot?
My mother at first was like, bring him home, let us meet him. And when I brought him home, they automatically didn't like him for some reason.
Okay.
And that's when they told me to stop seeing him.
Okay. So you were told to stop seeing him. So what happened then?
At first I stopped for a while. But like I said, I just felt really empty and I felt just depression, and
okay.
I started talking to him again.
Jennifer then goes on to explain in further detail how she carried on the relationship in secret and how it became more and more of a struggle hiding it from her parents.
Now, how has Daniel taken it when your parents said that you couldn't see him anymore? How did he take it?
He was hurt.
Yo, there's some real fucking freaks in the chat who keep saying, well, the parents were really bad. The parents were really bad. Like, you guys really are freaking me out a little bit, okay? I'm going to need you to dial it back like 11 degrees for saying, like, the parents were really bad. None of that is an excuse to fucking murder your parents, okay? Turning into a murder-dirter is not all right. I can't believe I'm doing an SNL joke.
And how did you feel?
Also hurt.
Also hurt. Okay.
She then goes on to explain that she was living with Daniel at his parents' house for 2 years, while her own parents thought she was studying at a university.
And his parents were, I guess, more liberal than your parents.
His parents, they loved me.
Yeah, okay. And
Not anymore.
They recognized that you loved each other.
Jennifer recounts how she bought a fake diploma for $500 to show her parents, and the many other avenues she went down to keep the lie going. She eventually gets to the day she was found out.
How did you end up back home, I guess?
They called up my friend, who I said I was staying with, in the middle of the night, and she was groggy and forgot what day it was, and so she's like, isn't she home? And I wasn't home.
Okay. She messed up.
I don't blame her, but...
No. Okay.
Jennifer then goes on to explain the ultimatum she was given and the restrictive measures that were put in place so that she wouldn't be able to see her boyfriend.
So how has that felt, being under those guidelines for the last 18 months?
It was okay, it wasn't the best feeling in the world, because, I just felt like trapped.
Okay.
But it's what I chose to be with my family.
Okay. And so you made a choice between what?
Living out on my own with Daniel and staying home with my parents.
Did you feel you really had a choice or not?
There was no choice because family always comes first.
Okay. And where do you get that from? Where do you get that belief? Okay. So family's number one?
Yes.
The detective then brings up Jennifer's earlier assertion of being depressed and then affiliates it with the restrictive measures she was living under.
What was the worst the depression got?
I cut myself.
Okay. And when did that happen? Where did you cut?
On my wrist. And
Chat, stop telling people that she's fidgeting her foot. Now that's all people are going to focus on. Oops.
once people started noticing, I'd hide it other places, but
Okay.
never twice in the same spot.
So how many cuts do you have on you?
Now, none.
None? They've healed? Okay. And did you want to kill yourself?
Yes.
Jennifer asserts that she tried to kill herself when she was 19 by overdosing on sleeping tablets. She also states that her self-harm was a distractor from the pain and frustrations she was going through.
Did you ever feel that they expected too much of you?
Didn't he just
Also.
severely abuse her? It doesn't justify murder, but it's more than just bad parenting.
Okay. So who would they compare you to?
I mean, they had like very fucking high expectations of her.
Classmates, clubmates.
They were overbearing and annoying.
Okay. And so some of them have been successful recently? Okay. And what did they say to you?
Wish you could have been that person.
Okay. So that's pretty hard, right? Hard to take for you?
What I've heard all my life. Nothing.
Okay. Did you ever feel like, I know you're smart and they believe you're very smart, but did you ever feel you weren't?
I don't know, man. I like, look, I'm from a different part of the planet, from a different time. Okay, I'm aging myself with this. Like, yeah, their parents were fucking bad, but I don't know enough to. None of it is justifiable, obviously. Like, nothing justifies murder, but like, chatter saying they're being abusive and whatever. One, feels kind of sus because you're like literally believing someone's word verbatim when that person is like literally a fucking murderer and has been lying about all this shit. And this is a liar's testimony. And two, like, even the way she describes shit, like, oh, my parents forced me to do this, they forced me to do that, like, it doesn't feel like, what? Oh, okay, that was a good one. It doesn't feel like it was, from my point of view, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm from a different era, maybe I'm from fucking a different part of the planet, but, like, they're just doing, like, typical fucking immigrant parent shit. They're being annoying, overbearing, they're being helicopter parents. But like, I feel like abuse is different. You know what I mean? It's still abuse though. Dude, okay, dude, yes, I know. 14-year-old anarchist in the chat. It's still abuse. Mental abuse is still fucked though. I know, but like, what do they do that's like mental abuse? I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood certain parts. Like, what are you considering like, what are you considering abusive in their actions? Forcing her to live with them under their rules when she's over 18? That's abuse? Okay, we definitely have different takes on what abuse is, dude. No, we literally have like, sorry. At first I didn't understand like what you guys were talking about, and now I understand that you're doing that thing where you like literally consider everything that is like, what the fuck, dude? What are you guys talking about that? She wasn't allowed to see her boyfriend. Could you imagine dealing with something like that? Yeah, I can. Can you not? I mean, I'm thankful my parents weren't like that, but yeah. You think parents being like, you can't hang out with your boyfriend, we don't like your boyfriend, is abuse? Are you fucking out of your mind, dude? Yo, what is happening right now in my chat? Please explain what is happening in my chat right now. What the fuck is happening, dude? Is this like literally 14-year-olds who like unironically try to apply like dialectical materialist values to like the dynamic, not even dialectical materialist actually. This sounds like fucking 14-year-old anarchists. Like white 14-year-old anarchists being like, this is an unjustifiable hierarchy, actually, as a matter of fact. Parenting is authoritarian by nature. And this is a hierarchy that must be abolished, Mom. You need to make me my chicken tendies right now, Mom. What you're doing currently by not allowing me to eat the chicken tendies is literally abuse. Yo, y'all sound like, I mean, I'm sorry, not to like minimize your disowning your child because you don't like their career choices abuse. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that that's like serious. And also, I don't believe that's serious because she's a fucking murderer who's lying in this process, trying to get out of lying about executing a fucking hit out on her parents. So what is mental abuse? Locking her in a fucking room, not allowing her to leave like for extended periods of time, neglecting, yelling, saying fucking that she's a loser, breaking her down, breaking her fucking confidence, slowly but surely. I don't know, just like regular abuse, not just fucking I don't know. Not like grounding someone, which is like a normal parent thing to do. Or, I don't fucking know, saying your boyfriend's a drug dealer and we kind of don't like that and we will fucking ground you if you keep fucking dating this dude. Normal parent stuff, guys. Y'all are fucking being crazy right now. What the fuck? All serial killers watching a sign. Yeah, I got like 50,000 14-year-olds waiting. Disowning isn't abusive? No, if saying like we're gonna disown you if you do this, that can be abusive. I just don't believe that like they said that to her. She's a grown-ass woman though. They're so controlling, dude. Oh, interesting. So just say that. Say they're controlling. You're saying they're abusive.